The top HBCU programs in the nation come to Montgomery, Alabama's Riverwalk Stadium this May 11th through 14th for the Black College World Series. The best Black college baseball teams in the NCAA Division II and the NAIA will battle for Black baseball's ultimate prize. Games will be streamed live at www.mybcsn.net. Tickets are available now online at www.blackcollegechampionships.com.
Bounty versus the old family dish towel. Drying with a fresh sheet of Bounty leaves your hands cleaner than a used dish towel that can carry and redistribute food residue. So ditch the dish towel for better hand hygiene. Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
Troy, you work here?
I'm never not working. Like Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology, up to 100% dandruff protection, even between washes.
Never not working.
Never not working. Never ever not working. Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield, never not working.
Every time I open one of these bottles, I hear trumpets and big band music. The Creole seasoning is a sodium-free and sugar-free blend that's versatile enough to put on anything. One of the first blends I developed more than 8 years ago, the Creole seasoning has an unmistakable aroma, a bold flavor, and a little heat for character.
Thank you guys for what you do for HBCU athletics. This is a fantastic avenue for all of us. This is our ESPN, so we love what you guys do. Bryan, AD, Roy, all you guys at BCSN. We really appreciate what it is that you guys do for us.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties. Through its programs, Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and Parenting Education Coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentJAX.
For 200 years, Montgomery, Alabama has been making history by people who had the courage to stand up for change. Today, this riverfront city has been reborn, embracing the past and looking forward to the future. From the National Memorial for Peace and Justice to the stage of the Alabama Shakespeare Festival, this is where history was and is made. We are proud to call Montgomery home, and together, we can be the change.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids' apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
Okay, welcome to another edition of the BCSN Sports Wrap. Bryan Fulford and 80 Drew here. It's March, which means it is madness around the world of college athletics, especially college basketball, our favorite sport. Despite our love and passion for football, it is basketball which keeps the engine revving, and we love March. So, Drew, how are you, my friend, and how are you feeling about March 2022?
Not gonna get mad about March yet because my bracket has not been busted yet. Now, talk to me on March 31st, and then I'll probably will call it truly March Madness, as my brackets will probably be busted at that point in time.
We have I have a little confidence, man. I haven't suffered a major bracket bust since
Last
I don't
year.
know. No, I don't think last year for some reason, I didn't. I jumped off of my usual anti-Gonzaga stance, and somehow I got roped into thinking that they could actually do it. And then nobody told me that Baylor was playing defense the way they were playing, and that's unfortunately when your eyes are focused in one direction, you lose sight of what's going on the other side. And I lost all sight of Baylor, but it was fun. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Objects in the mirror are closer than they appear.
Yeah, exactly. As our little screen notifications as well. Hey, we've got a loaded show. This is our 2022 NAIA basketball tournament preview show. And, last year we were fortunate enough to put together, even during the pandemic, we were fortunate enough to do a preview show with HBCU basketball teams going to the NAIA, even the Division II. And did we cover the Division I guys going into last year, Drew? Do you recall?
I think we talked with Texas Southern's coach, but we did not talk with him as far as a full preview show
I know we
we're
talked to
doing
Robert
this year.
Jones from Norfolk State as well. So
Yes.
no, actually we did, because I
But
remember we talked to AFC's coach. So we did hit the Division
yes.
ones as well. So yeah,
Yes.
I don't know if we got everybody, but we talked to at least three.
I don't think we talked to Reed last year from Jackson
No,
State.
we didn't. We didn't get a chance to talk to Coach Reed, so that's got to be on the priority list. But we started off with the NAIA because the NAIA schools are going. Their tournament begins this week, and last year it was a little. They reduced from 64 to 48 last year. Is that correct?
Division II and NAIA did last year.
Yeah, and obviously the year before that they didn't have one. Everybody's 2020 spring was canceled due to the pandemic. Yeah, so this year the NAIA is back to a full 64 teams, and the good thing is with so many HBCUs spread across, I believe we're spread across 4 conferences now. Is that correct? 4 or 5.
On the NAIA, we've got GCAC. We've got the Red River, which take up a bulk of our HBCUs. We've got 2 in the Southern States. We've got 1 in the Sun Conference. We've got 1 in the Sooner Athletic Conference. And then we've got a sprinkle of NAIA independents out there.
Right. So primarily major leagues within 5, said about 4 to 5 conferences easily. Well, this year we've got 7 schools going dancing this week. Their seasons are extended.
18, 6 schools.
Xavier
has 2 entries. Xavier has 2
17.
entries.
Was I wrong in that? 17.
Yes, 8. We've got 8 teams with 8 schools. 6 schools with 8 entrants. 2 teams have Xavier and Talladega have both their men and women going to the tournament.
Right. So here's the rundown that we have. We've got 8 coaches coming on the show today. Give us talk a little bit about what's up ahead for them with their upcoming opponent, um, and a few thoughts on their season. Obviously, we're not going to get into we like to do long discussions sometimes with our coaches, but given the nature of how many we have, our time doesn't afford us that. So we appreciate all the coaches coming on. Coming up at the bottom, or really at the 15, to the bottom of the first hour, we're going to talk to Eric Jackson of Rust. We're going to talk to Kevin Harrod of Talladega, and then we're going to talk to Bo Browder of Xavier. Then we get into the men's side, and we have 5 teams representing men's programs. We're going to start with Chris Wright of Talladega, John Teasley of Stillman, Alfred Williams of Xavier, Ansar Al-Ameen of Florida Memorial, and Charles Billiups of Tougaloo. And so I believe I hit all those names correctly and their schools. So yes, you're right. That's 8. 3 women, 3 women, 5 men. What surprised you about the seeding and some of the selections, Drew, for the men and women here in this NAIA tournament?
Can I talk about the team who did not get in that surprised me?
Sure.
That would be Philander Smith. Philander Smith with a very good record on this season. Philander Smith finished. Give me just a second. I had the stats pulled up before you asked me about them. Philander Smith finished 23-6. I gotta blame it on somebody. Philander Smith finished 23-6. When you count the GCAC tournament, they finished 8-2 in the GCAC. Actually won the GCAC regular season title. Had a very good arc, which is one of the qualifiers that got 2 of our teams in, Xavier, by having the highest arc in their conference, and despite not winning their conference tournament, and they were left outside the dance. So Philander Smith is the one team that I wanted to talk about. We talked about them last week with Coach Eric Jackson, who's on the art committee, and he thought Philander Smith had a very good opportunity. But haven't we seen this story before, Bryan, when it comes to the GCAC, where a very good team in the GCAC gets left out? Russ got left out last year. We've seen Ever Waters got left out 2 years ago. So there's always one team, men or women's, that seems to get left out in the GCAC conference. So got 3 new entrants coming into the GCAC. Hopefully, maybe, wishful thinking, maybe the GCAC can get themselves to 10, where they then become a 2-bid conference. And we don't have this problem again, because the teams tend to get to the championship game, but the GCAC gets their one in, doesn't get their second team in a lot of times. This year, they did not get their second team in. And 2 of the powerhouses of the GCAC left them this year, being Talladega to the Southern States Conference and Xavier to the Red River Athletic Conference, who ironically got both their men's and women's programs in. So makes you wonder, if all of them would have still been in the GCAC, would we have all of these entrants?
It would have helped the conference RPI or whatever metric they use. What's sad for Philander Smith is obviously it's a 5-team conference. I think I'm saying that right.
They had 6 because they allowed Ever Waters to participate in the tournament. So 6 participated.
But they didn't play him in the regular season. I was looking at their standings. They were 7-1. So that means you're playing 4 teams twice. So really for Philander, they benefited from having a smaller conference because they were able to go out and play tougher opponents. And by the way, you and Coach Jackson, who we'll be talking to shortly, you guys had a great discussion about ARC. And, I thought, it'd be, we're not gonna waste, and I say waste, but we're not gonna waste the little time we have with him talking about why Philander Smith didn't get in, because this opportunity is to talk about his team. But maybe on the back channels, it'd be nice to have a conversation and find out what was playing against Philander Smith, because you would think having they went 7-1 in the regular season, they lose in the championship game to Rust. What was it that kept them out, or who was it that got in outside of Philander Smith? So that's one thing to look at. Real quickly, Drew, I want to make mention of this. Lakeland, Florida, at Southeastern University is the hot spot for the HBCU for 4 different teams, 2 men and 2 women. On the brackets, on the men's side, playing in Lakeland, Florida, you've got Tougaloo playing in in Lakeland, and then you have Xavier men playing in Lakeland as well against the host Southeastern University. And then on the women's side, you've got Xavier women playing at Lakeland, and Rust women playing at Lakeland. Xavier women, the 16 seed, going up against the overall #1 team in Southeastern University. So, Drew was telling me I have to somehow find a way to Xavier. I don't know. They start these games at odd times, and March 11th is the middle of the week. So I think it's Thursday. So I don't know how I'm going to make it there, but I'm hopeful.
March 11th is Friday, Bryan.
Wait a minute, is it?
Yes.
Oh, I got a half day on Friday. I might be able to. Okay.
Take your half day.
You told me something. Since I can't go to the SWAC tournament, I may have to go to Lakeland to watch. And we'll talk more about where everybody is seated. I will. Well, yeah, we're overdue. So let's take a break. And when we come back out of the break, we'll get into our first set of discussions with Eric Jackson of Rust, Kevin Herrod of Talladega, and Bo Browder of Xavier, coming up after this break. You're watching the BCSN Sports Wrap.
The top HBCU programs in the nation come to Montgomery, Alabama's Riverwalk Stadium this May 11th through 14th for the Black College World Series. The best Black college baseball teams in the NCAA Division II and the NAIA will battle for Black baseball's ultimate pride. Games will be streamed live at www.mybcsn.net. Tickets are available now online at www.blackcollegechampionships.com.
Bounty versus the old family dish towel. Drying with a fresh sheet of Bounty leaves your hands cleaner than a used dish towel that can carry and redistribute food residue. So ditch the dish towel for better hand hygiene. Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
Troy, you work here?
I'm never not working. Like Head & Shoulder Scalp Shield technology, up to 100% dandruff protection, even between washes. Never not working. Never not working. Never ever not working. Head & Shoulder Scalp Shield, never not working.
Every time I open one of these bottles, I hear trumpets and big band music. The Creole seasoning is a sodium-free and sugar-free blend that's versatile enough to put on anything. One of the first blends I developed more than 8 years ago, the Creole seasoning has an unmistakable aroma, a bold flavor, and a little heat for character.
Thank you guys for what you do for HBCU athletics. This is a fantastic avenue for all of us. This is our ESPN, so we love what you guys do. Bryan, AD, Roy, all you guys at BCSN. We really appreciate what it is that you guys do for us.
Welcome back to the BCSN Sports Wrap. Coming up very shortly, our first of three conversations that we're going to have. First up with Eric Jackson of Rust College. The Rust Lady Bearcats are the 9 seed in the Naismith Quadrant opening round matchup against Cumberland's Kentucky, who is the 8th seed. Thoughts on as we can so as you look at the quadrant up in the upper left corner there, you've got the second seed down, the second bracket down. Very tight window there. You've got Rust taking on Cumberland. What do we know about Cumberland, the Cumberlands in Kentucky, Drew? What do you have on them?
Give me just a sec, because I actually have pulled up Southeastern, who is Xavier's opponent. Cumberland comes into this with a 13-16 record. 8-13 in the conference, but they come in. Obviously, they won their conference tournament. So, wait a minute. Sorry, I've got the wrong team here. Let's talk about Russ for a second, Bryan.
Okay, well, we're talking about Rust. Obviously, the Lady Bearcats had an outstanding season this past year, going 25-3, 3 losses this season, coming to losing to Mississippi Valley State back in November, losing to Central Methodist. Let me take that back, because some of those don't count. I guess those are exhibition games. They lost to Lyon back on November 20th. They lost to Central Methodist. They lost to Union University. Philander Smith. They did lose to Philander Smith by 5 back in February. They avenged that loss with a 70-48 victory in the GCAC tournament. That loss to Philander was like the last game of the season. Rust had winning streaks of 10 and 12, 10 games and 12 games throughout the course of the season. So this is a team that among the NAIA schools, we talked about this with Coach Jackson a little earlier in the year. They have one of the highest, or I should say fewest, points allowed in all of NAIA basketball, averaging giving up just about 50-something points a game. So Russ is a very stingy ball club. Russ is one of those teams that they've got it's interesting because in the bracket that they're in, their quadrant is what it's called, potentially running up against a Southeastern, which is the number 1 team in the country. That could be a pretty interesting future matchup. And of course, should Xavier, who's the opposite side of that quadrant as the 16 seed, pull off the upset over Southeastern, would set up for a good old-fashioned GCAC matchup between Xavier and Rust. So 2 foes who are very familiar with each other. Xavier just moving over to the Red River this season. What are your thoughts, Drew? I would anticipate Rust advancing to the second game, and then it's just a matter of, are they playing Southeastern on their home court, or do they go up against the old foe in Xavier?
Well, you all know who we are rooting for. We're rooting for a GCAC reunion party for Russ. looking at the Cumberlands, this is their second consecutive 20-win season, as they went 20-12 overall, 13-9 in the Mid South Conference. Cumberlands had 3 all-conference selections: Cassie Monday, Destiny Hallworth, and Abby Douglas. And give me a second. Coach Jackson is texting me as I'm talking. But Monday is averaging 15.7 points and 4.1 assists per game. Hallworth and Douglas both up over 12 points a game. Cumberland ranks 4th in the NAIA, shooting almost 37% from behind the three-point arc.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I say, obviously we are rooting for a HBCU matchup in the second round there in Lakeland, Florida.
And just a little familiarity, if you're not familiar with Russ College, it's a team that's really, averaging 69.8 a game. I said they're giving up just under 50 at 49.4. They're led by Shay Johnson, senior guard, 11 points a game. They're really spread out. There's nobody that's averaging, they only have Johnson averaging 11 a game. But they get quality minutes from at least about 8 to 10 players. And in the point production, you've got, Jasmine Coleman, another senior, averaging 9 points a game. Katie Blackman, a junior center, averaging 8.8 a game. Jade Lewis, a senior forward, averaging 7. So there's a lot going on there in terms of their point production, where everybody, almost 8 to 10 players are playing and getting minutes. Those minutes can range from 26 and a half all the way down to about 11. And so that's their production. And they just spread it out, and they can continue to try to attack. And so it'll be interesting to see here's a Rush team that we thought was going to have an opportunity a year ago, and they're here. So we got, very quickly, we've got Coach Jackson joining us. Coach, thanks for joining us. We don't have much time, obviously, with tight windows. How are you doing? Congratulations on winning the GCAC.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it, man. Thank you guys for having me on. I apologize for my tardiness there.
It's all good. Coach, quickly, what do you know? What have you seen about Cumberland's, without giving too much of your game plan, what impresses you about them, or what are kind of things that you're looking for as you watch film?
Man, they are a scrappy team. They can shoot it well. Well-coached team. They play in a really, really tough league. And so one of the things that's really, really important that I try to convey to my girls is that with them playing in a tough league, I think their league may have gotten 8 teams into the conference tournament. I mean, the national tournament.
You're correct, Coach.
So they've seen top-notch competition. I want to say 2 of their teams are in the top 5 in the country. So they're getting exposure to what it feels like to play national championship level teams almost every night in conference play. So that means they've been down 20 before. They've been up 2 or 3. They've been in a nip and tuck game where it's going back and forth all the time. And all that equates to that they are not going to give up. Because through all of that, they won 20 games. So through all of that, they're not going to give up. So that means we got to come in focused, ready to go, ready to play Bearcat-style basketball, and then let the chips fall where they may.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Drew.
Well, Coach, your team's also pretty battle tested there. Also, you faced a couple of Division I opponents. You played a Stillman who played against some of the top some of the top teams in the nation there in Loyola and Faulkner and everything. You had a tough Philander Smith that's in your conference who was on the outside looking in, unfortunately. But we're not even going to. We don't have enough time to get into that discussion today. So what? You've already talked a little bit about the mentality of your girls. You got to go in, you got to fight, you got to scrap. What are some of the intangibles that it's going to take for you to beat this team?
Just simply just playing for 40 minutes, playing for 40 minutes. They are a very, very good three-point shooting team. So that's a two-way street. One, we got to make sure that we close out on those shooters and make it tough for them to make threes. And then two, we got to make sure that just because if there gets to a point where we get a 2-possession lead, where we get up 8-7, somewhere like that, understand that they're gonna come back from that faster than a normal team would. So that means that we got to make sure that when we're up that much, we got to take quality shots still and not waste possessions taking ill-advised shots or quick shots. And so that's one of the things that we want to make sure that if we do that, I think we should be okay.
Now, Coach, before I turn it back over to Bryan, when you have a team that shoots the three like this team shoots the three, sometimes you find yourself playing outside of your character and want to get into a 3-point contest with the other team. How do you, as a coach, avoid your girls just because she hit that three? It's fine for us to go down here and get this 2 on this layup. How do you avoid trying to go 3 for 3? Then you miss and they come back, they've hit 3 in a row, and you've missed 4 in a row.
Well, to be honest, I'm just going to lean on their on our experience and on our senior leadership, especially with Shay, just making sure that she understands that before the game starts, so practicing, having those discussions, watching film, not falling for that trap, and just understanding who we are. We're not a superb 3-point shooting team. Our bread and butter is points in the paint, and most of all defense, of course. So we don't want to get out of character. We got to understand what got us there and continue to do those things and not necessarily, like you said, get out of character just because somebody hits a 3 or 2.
Mm-hmm. Coach, what's the game when you look back on your schedule? 20, let me make sure I said it right, 25-3. So when you look at the course of 28 games, what are some of the games that you can maybe look back on and say, that opponent, that game really got us prepared for this opportunity that's in front of us?
Well, that's a pretty easy one. It's Central Methodist and Lyon College for sure. And both of those teams are both in the national tournament. And that's the reason why we scheduled those games, is because we knew that those two teams are normally in the tournament and they give us that tournament style of feel. But even those two teams, they're kind of different. Central Methodist has big-time talent across the board, from big-time transfers from West Virginia and Kansas State. And then Lyon is kind of more of that, kind of like a Cumberland-like team, where they can really shoot it well, really good guard play, and they can shoot it 1 through 5. And so it's kind of a different feel. And so we got a chance to see both of those teams, and we played. We split with Lyon, obviously, but then we played Central Methodist down to the wire, which shows that we can play with those guys, and I think that just the confidence, being able to pull from that game alone and say, hey, we were a possession away and we were missing a starter and another key piece in both of those games. And so when being able to be close like that, I think it's something that you can pull confidence from going into this postseason.
And defensively, we've talked about how you've been one of the top, if not the top team in terms of defensive points allowed. Does that help you sleep a little better going into this tournament? I mean, does the team completely feel confident in their ability from the defensive side to say, whoever we go up against, we feel like they're gonna have to deal with us guarding them?
Yeah, I think so. Just kind of what you were speaking about our depth, and the reason we're allowed to play that deep is because we have, 10, 11, even sometimes on some nights 12 young ladies who know what they're doing defensively. And that's something that's really, really big for us. Understanding the schemes, understanding the terminology, understanding the scouter report, and that is something that we really, really lean on, because we talk about what about those days when your shots are not falling? What's going to hold you? Are you going to be able to win those games that are in the 40s or the low 50s? Or, one time we played Lemoyne in college, and I think the final score is 36-37, for crying out loud. If you don't play defense and you don't hang your hat on that, sometimes you'll find yourself in a game where you don't win that game, and then you're coming back and saying why you lost, or we just didn't make shots. Well, you got to make sure that you hang your hat on that defensive end, and you're able to win those close games as well. So, but the flip side of that is, if we do make shots and we keep that same defensive intensity, that makes us a team that's pretty tough to beat most nights.
Mm-hmm. All right, Drew, you got close with Coach.
Just so any fans who want to follow you guys down there, any HBCU fans in the state of Florida, when you guys gonna arrive down there in the state?
Well, we're getting on the plane Tuesday morning, so we should be there about Tuesday afternoon. Flying into Tampa, we're staying in Tampa, and then we'll be there, all the way up until the 13th. We'll be there till the 13th, and we'll just be there, just enjoying the sun, enjoying the weather, but also ready to take care of business as well.
Can't let you get out here without asking you this. How sweet would it be if you and Xavier would play in the second round? I know you're not looking ahead, but it has to be on that. Let's win so we can play Xavier.
Oh man, no doubt about it. I mean, Bo's one of my mentors. I talk to him all the time. He gives me a bunch of insight, man, and a bunch of good advice. Anybody that's been doing as long as he has, definitely has some good things that you can pick from. And but it'll be great, man. It'll be great. I'll love to play him. It's always a formidable opponent for sure. And and we're playing in Florida, so hey, who wouldn't want that?
Take us home, Bryan.
Yeah, we got good weather down here, Coach. So you're gonna enjoy it. You're gonna enjoy the weather, no doubt. So Russ taking on Cumberlands of Kentucky. That is the first game in the Lakeland, Florida quadrant, which is part of the Naismith quad. That is game number 1, 12 p.m. Central, 1 p.m. Eastern. You can follow, you can get live stats, box scores, naia.org. That'll take you there, and they might even be showing live streaming of the game, but you'll have to kind of watch and see.
Pay.
But
you got to pay for the tournament.
Okay, so you got to pay for its pay-per-view. Okay.
Yes.
Well, the live stats are there, and opportunities are there for anyone who wants to go pay-per-view and watch the Lady Bearcats. So the winner of that game will take on the winner of the 1 versus 16 seed between Southeastern and Xavier. Coach Jackson, we appreciate you taking time tonight. Good luck to you and the Bearcats. Safe travels down here to Florida, all right? Maybe I'll get a chance to see you, hopefully. All right.
No doubt. Thank you guys for having me on. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you,
sir.
Coach.
All right. So we appreciate Coach Jackson. Pretty soon we'll have Coach Kevin Harrod of Talladega, Bo Browder of Xavier. Let's jump over to what Talladega's women are looking at. Now, Talladega's women, Drew, they are the 12 seed in the what's called the Liston quadrant. And those quadrants of NAIAs are basically your regionals, your north, south, east, west. Those of you who might be familiar with the NCAA style, these quadrants are named after, obviously, legends, basketball coaches are legends. So the listing quadrant, might be your, I don't even know what to call it, because you got teams from all over. So, but anyway, the quadrant of 4 consists of Talladega taking on, they're the 12 seed, taking on the 5 seed Providence of Montana. And, hey, Drew, this tournament, if it's like the NCAA tournament, the 5-12s are always dangerous matchups, are they not?
Yes, sir.
You're always looking for an upset, and then you always go to the 5-12 matchup. So Providence from out of Montana, they're gonna have to have their head on a swivel and be ready for Talladega. That game is going to be in Alexandria, Louisiana. The host school is LSU Alexandria, and on the other side of that quad, you have Central Methodist, the 4 seed, taking on the 13 seed Freed Hardeman. They're out of Tennessee. So that's what that looks like. Thoughts on Talladega getting the at-large? Obviously, they lost in the championship game of the Red River to Loyola. Your thoughts on Talladega, Drew?
Well, I'll start off with talk about this Providence team. They are one of 4 teams from the Frontier Conference to receive a bid. Rocky Mountain out of the Frontier Conference is a number 2. Carroll College is a number 3. Montana Western is a number 8 seed in their respective regions. So that's a summary on them. And looking at their record, they finished 25-6, 12-3 in the conference, and they lost in the semifinals to Carroll College. They lost 61-53 in the semifinals. And most of the teams as going up and down their schedule were in that Montana, Dakotas region that they played this year. Statistically speaking, go ahead.
No. I thought you were done. Go ahead. No, I thought you were done. Go ahead.
Yeah. Statistically speaking, leading scorer is number 3, Emily Maldonado. Yes, I think I got that right. Emily Maldonado, who's averaging 17.5 points per game. Parker Essere, who's averaging 15.5 points a game. Brooklyn Horn at 11.2, and Reed Hazard at 10.7 points per game. The leading 3-pointer is Emily Maldonado. She is shooting at almost a 43% clip on the season out of 184 3-point attempts. Brooklyn Horn is shooting right at 40% out of 149 attempts. And Reed Hazard is shooting 33% out of 132 attempts. So they've got 3 people shooting a bulk of their trays on the season. It looks like they've got one young lady, Kirsten Pimpleton, who's also shooting at above a 30% clip from the 3-point line. So it looks like Talladega's facing a team that likes to jack up a lot of threes. Just looking at the scouting at the statistics there, Bryan.
And I misspoke earlier. Talladega actually part of the Southern States Conference, and I'm still trying to get that right between who's in the Red River and who's in the Southern States, because all these schools used to be in the GCAC. But anyway, so yeah, they lost in the championship game of the Southern States to Loyola University, and lost that contest by a score of 73-50. It was the rubber match. No, check that. They had lost to Loyola twice previously, 98-77 and 81-77. So, but still, Talladega is one of those teams that they were hovering around, especially at the beginning of the year, Drew, where they were one of the top teams in our top 5 rankings, especially when we went into January to start the year. Had a bit of a tough stretch. The one thing about Talladega, they have been battle tested. They played a very good schedule. They faced a pair of top 20 teams earlier in the year. They went to Southeastern University to take on Southeastern University and Bryan College. Southeastern, of course, number 1 team in the country. Bryan College at the time was 20th. So they had a taste of playing both of those teams. Then they had to play Loyola. So this Talladega team has been really tested. And, you look at their record at 20-11, 10-7 in the conference. And, I don't, you look at that and say, well, getting to the championship helped them definitely. And this is a team that's very capable of being that 12 seed upset. So it'll be interesting to kind of watch and see what Talladega does. I think what also be interesting is there might be a little envy. I mean, obviously, Coach Karad is happy to be in the tournament, but he's also the athletic director, and sort of, he has to rely on his athletic staff, who's hosting for the men, because the men are actually at home hosting. So, but I'm sure he'll gladly travel to Alexandria, Louisiana, and look to see if they can pair wins this upcoming week as a 12 seed. And then, Drew, we'll kind of jump over to talk about Xavier while we're waiting to see if we get either Coach Harrod or Coach Browder to jump in at their scheduled time. Xavier is the 16 seed in Lakeland, playing up against Southeastern Louisiana, Southeastern University. They're the number 1 seed, number 1 team overall. Xavier had a 15-game winning streak before they lost in the Red River. Now that's who's in the Red River, Xavier. Xavier's in the Red River. So
you
Xavier
got that one right.
I got that one right. Xavier's on a 15-game winning streak prior to losing to, I believe it was LSU Shreveport.
One of them. In Shreveport,
Yeah.
Alexandria.
Yeah.
Flip a coin, you get it right 50% of the time.
Right. So they lost in the semis, but still earned their way into the tournament. And the resume for Coach Browder speaks for itself. You already heard a mentor to so many coaches. Obviously, you heard Coach Jackson is one of them, and I'm sure there's be others. But he had his 500th win. Now, I believe he got his 500th win in the NAIA tournament last spring, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. This is the 17th time that one of his teams has qualified for the Division I National Championship Tournament. Let's see. I think if I look in terms of streaks in a row, we'd say this is the 3rd consecutive season. Obviously, not counting the 2019-2020 season. So this will be the 3rd consecutive year that one of his teams has made it. Of course, they got the win last year. And, Drew, hey, you like to say anything's possible, right? Anything's possible. And, we're not gonna say that he can't do it. It's a tall task, and they know that, but they just got to go in and play. What are your thoughts on Xavier? And or maybe if you've done the breakdown, what's the breakdown on what Southeastern look like?
Southeastern, number 1 ranked team in the NAIA top 25 poll. They come in 29-1, sweeping through the Sun Conference regular season and the Sun Conference tournament. Bryan, if we keep in track, that is 6 times in 7 years. And by the way, for those who are wanting to root on not only these 2 HBCUs, but the 2 men HBCUs that will be playing in Lakeland, the games will take place in the furnace, as they call it, at the Tyson Events Center. Oh, excuse me. That's the winner of Sweet 16 going to the Tyson Event Center in Sioux City, Iowa. But the games will take place in the furnace at Southeastern University. Uh, Statistically speaking, for Southeastern, I mean, I don't even know where to begin with this one, Brian.
The short abridged version is they score a lot of points and they
score
don't give up a lot of points.
They've got three people averaging double digits. Angela Perry, 18-1, Leah Vigil, 12-4, Marta Aranada at 11 points per game. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players shooting over 35% from the 3-point line. 5 of those 6 players have 100 attempts or more on the season. So let you know they are not a team that's afraid to jack up the threes. They are scoring 84-7 a game and giving up 55-4 per game. And for a team like Xavier, who is a defensive team, they will have to have an offensive explosion in addition to their normal defensive game and try to keep this game somewhere in the 60s in order to compete is what Xavier will need to do.
Did you make mention of their record?
Which one? The 29-1?
Yeah.
Yes, I did. Number one in the nation.
I heard you say number one in the nation, and then everything else was a blur. They're. I'm trying to look real quick and see how far they went last year. Last year they were 26-3. They lost in the. They actually played Xavier last year, and they beat them 70-47 in the opening round. They lost in the national championship 70-63. I don't know if that's the championship game or not. As I take a look here, no, that was in the round of 16. So that was in the round of 16 that they lost last year. So here's a team that's real hungry, and they're gonna be a tough out. But experience is on the side of Xavier for nothing else. All right, let's take a break. Come back and let's see if we've got some of the men's coaches lined up and ready to talk with us. We'll be back on the other side. You're watching the BCSN Sports Wrap.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties. Through its programs, Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and Parenting Education Coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentjax.
For 200 years, Montgomery, Alabama has been making history by people who had the courage to stand up for change. Today, this riverfront city has been reborn, embracing the past and looking forward to the future. From the National Memorial for Peace and Justice to the stage of the Alabama Shakespeare Festival, this is where history was and is made. We are proud to call Montgomery home, and together, we can be the change.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
All right, welcome back to the BCSN Sports Wrap. Bryan and Aiden here. Want to thank you guys for watching us out on YouTube and Facebook. Shout out to Tamara T, Mary 305 for joining in and watching us. This is our 2022 NAIA tournament preview. Just went through the 3 women's teams that are in the NAIA tournament. That is the Russ Lady Bearcats, who are a 9 seed. Talladega College Tornadoes, coached by Kevin Harrod. They are a 12 seed. And then Xavier is Xavier University, coached by Bo Browder. They are, that's the Xavier Gold Nuggets. They are a 16 seed going up against the number 1 overall seed, number 1 team in the country. And like we said, they've actually played this team before. Played them last year in the tournament. So, and it was at their place as well. So there's a little familiarity. So that's the one thing working on the side of Xavier. Want to get into our top 5 rankings for NAIA, since we were talking about the NAIA rankings. And so we'll get ready to pull those up. If my producer has those ready, I'll go through the rundown here of our top 5 teams. Now, I don't know if this is necessarily final, because nope, we're going to go through the NAIA. Can we start with the NAIA? There we go. The NAIA women. So the final regular season rankings from 1 to 5, obviously Rust Lady Bearcats finished number 1. Talladega Tornadoes come in at number 2. Philander Smith, the GCAC tournament runner-up, co-regular season champs, number 3. 23-6. They are not in the tournament, which is sort of among the top 4 teams there in our power ratings. A little disappointing that they weren't able to get into the NAIA tournament. Xavier comes in at number 4. They are in the tournament, representing Red River. And then Florida Memorial came in at number 5 with a record of 15-11. Now, will this stay the same? Will this be the final rankings? It's possible. We will do another ranking after the playoffs, after the NAIA tournament is concluded. So what could happen, if Talladega makes a run that is deeper than Rust, there could be an opportunity for Rust to take over and become our end of the season number 1 team. But if both teams were to lose out about the same time, it'll probably stay as you see it. Am I right on that, Drew?
Yeah, Talladega Russ would probably have to lose in the first round, and Talladega would probably have to make it deep into Kansas City, probably somewhere near the semifinals in Kansas City. Xavier will probably jump Philander just based on strength of schedule and the extra game that they've played at the end of the season, because Philander is locked, Philander is done, and Xavier has an opportunity still to improve their resume and to improve their numbers in the computer. So we've only got 3 of those 5 teams that are in contention right now to be able to move. So it is what it is. Florida Memorial will finish 5. We know that. Philander will finish no higher than 3, probably 4. And the other 3 will move out. Xavier could catch Talladega for second also, Bryan. So let's keep that in mind.
Right. Okay. Coming up here shortly, we're going to have interviews with the host of men's coachings, Chris Wright from Talladega, John Teasley from Stillman, Alfred Williams of Xavier, Ansar Al-Ameen from Florida Memorial, Charles Billiups from Tougaloo. That's who we've got planned to come up here in the second hour. Let's go through the bracket here of what we have. Okay, I had my sheet all pulled up. Again, it's a 64-team field this year. So the NAIA bracket, very similar to the NCAA bracket. So if we can put up we've got the NAIA bracket based in 4 quadrants. We have the Naismith quadrant, the Kramer quadrant, the Dewar quadrant, and the Liston quadrant. Each quadrant is similar to the east,
Southeast,
south, west, and Midwest regions that you are familiar with from the NCAA tournament. So for those who are trying to parallel the NAIA tournament to the NCAA tournament, that's what you got. So
the difference is the open round sites are not as geographic as they are with the NCAA's sites. Yes, these places do have to bid on these sites to host these tournaments, and obviously if the host team makes the tournament, they will be playing in their own facility. But you take a team like Southeastern, who bid for both a men's and a women's tournament, which is why their men are playing at home and their women are playing at home, where Talladega only was able to land one tournament, which is why their men are at home and the women have to play on the road.
And another thing I'll add to that is when they get to the quote unquote Sweet 16, as we like to call it, that's actually all at one location. So the top 16 teams all go to Kansas City, Missouri in the case of the men, and the women, Sioux City, Iowa.
Yes.
That's where the round of 16 is played, and they basically, they have games that'll take place, over the course of about five to 6 days, from the round of 16 to the quarterfinals to the semis to the actual championship game. The men's championship broadcast on ESPN3 on Tuesday, March 22nd at 7 p.m. The women's will be on March 22nd, Tuesday, 7 p.m. as well. Are they the same day? How's that going to work?
Same day and time?
And same network. So I guess, obviously there's 2 different sites. So, obviously ESPN3 is nothing but ESPN Plus. So that's all that is. Our producer wants us to take a break, and so we'll do that. And coming up, I believe our first coach will join us. That's Chris Wright of Talladega. So let's step away for a short minute to reset a few things and come back on the other side with Chris Wright from Talladega. You're watching the BCSN Sports Wrap.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
The top HBCU programs in the nation come to Montgomery, Alabama's Riverwalk Stadium this May 11th through 14th for the Black College World Series. The best Black college baseball teams in the NCAA Division II and the NAIA will battle for Black baseball's ultimate pride. Games will be streamed live at www.mybcsn.net. Tickets are available now online at www.blackcollegechampionships.com.
Bounty versus the old family dish towel. Drying with a fresh sheet of Bounty leaves your hands cleaner than a used dish towel that can carry and redistribute food residue. So ditch the dish towel for better hand hygiene. Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
Troy, you work here?
I'm never not working. Like Head and Shoulder Scalp Shield technology, up to 100% dandruff protection, even between washes. Never not working. Never not working. Never ever not working. Head and Shoulder Scalp Shield, never not working.
Every time I open one of these bottles, I hear trumpets and big band music. The Creole seasoning is a sodium-free and sugar-free blend that's versatile enough to put on anything. One of the first blends I developed more than 8 years ago, the Creole seasoning has an unmistakable aroma, a bold flavor, and a little heat for character.
Thank you guys for what you do for HBCU athletics. This is a fantastic avenue for all of us. This is our ESPN, so we love what you guys do. Bryan, AD, Roy, all you guys at BCSN. We really appreciate what it is that you guys do for us.
Welcome back to the BCSN Sports Wrap. Bryan and AD here, top of the second hour. Want to thank you for watching us on YouTube and Facebook, wherever you're watching our show. Hopefully you hit that like button. Hopefully you've subscribed already to our YouTube and Facebook pages. And, we're giving you tell us somebody else who's doing a breakdown of the NAIA tournament. We've got 7 HBCUs. HBCU teams, 8. Why do I keep saying 7? 8 HBCU teams representing 5 schools. Do I have that part right?
6.
Doggone it, 6 schools. All right, the hell. I'm whatever. Let me just get something right. Anyway, let me look. So we've got 5 men's schools: Talladega College, Stillman College, Xavier University, Florida Memorial University, and Tougaloo College.
You got that one
let's
right.
first talk. Yeah, I got that right. I got that written down. That's why. Let's talk about Talladega. Talladega College. They finished the the final poll, regular season poll, I believe ranked 8th, if I saw that correctly. Might even be 6th, but they're in the top 10 nationally. They got as high as, I think, 2 or 3 during the course of the year. They finished the regular season 27-5. Unfortunately, they were unable to defeat their nemesis in the Red River, Loyola University, who bested them not only during the regular season a couple times, but also in the championship game of
They
Sooner
finished number
States.
6,
Huh?
They finished number 6.
Finished 6. I thought I saw 6. I wasn't sure. All that said, they are actually hosting opening round as a 2 seed in the which quadrant? In the DUER quadrant, which again, for those who may have missed us, the quadrants in the NAIA are similar to your 4 regions of the NCAA. And so in their quad, they are actually taking on the 15 seed Washington Adventist from Maryland. Now, that game has been scheduled for a 3 p.m. game on Friday, March 11th. And I think the game had originally been scheduled to play later, but, Washington Adventist has religious ties, and so that their school observes the Sabbath of no activities from Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. And so, they agreed to move. They agreed to move that contest, and so that was a nice thing to see done. And then after that game, they'll host the 7 seed Cumberland University from out of Tennessee, and then number 10 seed West Virginia University Tech out of West Virginia. So that's who we've got set up. So one of our coaches is already in. It looks like that's Coach John Teasley of Stillman College. Coach Teasley, how you doing, sir? Congratulations on your back in the show. How are you doing tonight, sir?
I'm good. How are y'all?
Doing great,
well.
Coach. Doing great.
We're doing
Y'all
well.
hear me good this time?
Yes, sir. We got you.
Yes, sir.
Great. Hey, congratulations. You guys got into the tournament at large bid this year. Talk a little bit about the excitement. Of course, last year the team went to the round of 16. You're back in the tournament. Talk a little bit about what this, and I believe, I want to make sure I get this right. This is the 6th consecutive year, or is it the 7th?
Just the 5th.
5th. Oh, see, my
well, you're on a roll today,
today.
Brian. You haven't got no number right today.
Thank you. I'm getting no numbers, no streaks, or no numbers right, so that's why I was throwing it out there. I read it. Yes, this is the 5th consecutive year that Stillman has made it to the tournament. Talk for a second, Coach, about just that. You're back in the show. You got to dance. You're in the dance, and what that means for this team and the program.
No, it means everything, especially for us as coaches and an institution, just to be able to win. Like I told a guy the other day, one of the hardest things there is to do in athletics is win a college basketball game. And to be able to do that on a consistent basis is always good. It just makes you feel good about what you're doing, and it just goes to show that the work you put into it is really paying off.
Mm-hmm. Now, Stillman is a 7 seed taking on Union from out of Kentucky. That this game will be in Crestview Hills, Kentucky. Thomas More, they are the 2 seed. They are the actual host school, and they're in the other quad taking on Grand View from out of Iowa. I don't have the game start times. Do you know the start times yet? Are you the first or second game on Friday, Coach?
Yeah, we will be the last game. Our game starts at 7:30. I couldn't tell you anything else about that, but because I'm so focused on trying to win that 7:30 game.
Oh, sure, yeah, definitely. So as you've taken a look at Union and you had a chance to do some scouting, tell us some things that you've seen from them, things that you're going to emphasize or are emphasizing to your players so already.
Well, one of the things that you're looking at a team, we were talking earlier about consistency. They finished 25-8 this year, won their conference tournament for the 9th straight year in a row. So, that's really, to me, is unbelievable. And Kevin Burton's been doing such a good job with that group, and they've just been so successful over the last 10 years, and just it's an honor to be able to be in the same room with teams like that for us, and we're excited. Those guys are long, they're athletic, they shoot the ball very well. So we really got our hands full, but we're excited about it.
Go ahead, Drew.
All right, Coach, you got in as an at-large. Obviously, there was about 5 days there where you were on the fence. You thought your resume was good enough to get you in, but you had to wait for the official word since you were not one of those 2 finalists in your conference tournament. So, number one, tell us about those 5 days of anxiety that you had, and then number 2, do you think the fact that this is time number 5, do you think your legacy, your track record there, and still been kind of, if there was any doubt, kind of bumped you over because, hey, this team's been in 4 years in a row and they've been successful in the tournament? Do you think that may have influenced the selection committee?
Well, yeah. Anytime you've put the type of resume we put together, it helps, especially when you have Raiders across the country that's not familiar with your team, and you don't get to play those guys. So really what you put on paper is all they got to look at. And I think over the last 5 years, we put a good resume together to where teams like that now we're being recognized nationally as a team that is tournament worthy, and being able to do those kind of things. And just being able to put a good resume on paper really goes a long way, especially when it comes time to selecting teams for this tournament. And everybody knows that the Southern States Athletic Conference is probably one of the toughest, if not the toughest conference to play. You had Loyola and Talladega and Faulkner and William Carey. Anytime you play teams like that every night, it's it makes it a tough conference. So I think that resume we did put together does. But when it comes to the anxiety of it, you know me now, by now, many times we met, I don't let too much really worry me. I always try to look for the best in everything. And our guys, we just kept continue to work like normal, like as if we did make it. So we would be prepared for making it, which hopefully it'll pay off for us.
Yeah. Now, as you think back over your season, you think about your upcoming opponent on Friday, which team that you have played on your schedule kind of mirrors like, okay, fellas, we did this against this team. This is how this team does it. Or maybe it's bits and pieces of offensively, they're like this opponent, but defensively, they're like this opponent. Which opponents quite mirror your upcoming opponent on Friday?
Well, they mainly play man. They're big team. Like a Dalton State is what I would kind of relate them to. The physicality part. They remind me of a Talladega kind of in your face kind of style basketball defense, but as if I could basically judge them by what we have seen before, it would be between a Talladega and a Dalton State. The way the team is made up of, they play really fast. They shoot the ball 1 through 4. They got a 6'9" power forward who's can play with his back to the basket better than anybody I've ever seen. So this is really going to be a really tough matchup, but I like it. This is what we built our team for, is March, and I think that if we do what we're supposed to do, we could be very successful.
Go ahead, Bryan.
Coach, in the modern era, and I have to say the modern era because I guess meaning the last 20 years or so, I guess this millennium, nobody's had a run like you guys are on right now among 4-year schools in Alabama. That's pretty prestigious that among, 4-year universities like Auburn, Alabama, UAB, Stillman's 5-year run right now in postseason basketball is right up there. It's like, again, last 20 years, it is one of the top ones. Talk a little bit about how that helps the program going forward, and obviously this is an experienced group, but helps you in after this season when you get into the spring and get into that recruiting period.
No, it helps. Anytime you can be mentioned with names like the ones you just brought up, it always helps, And just for us to be as successful as we've been, it's just been, to me, it's just been surreal because, I took the hard way to be getting into coaching, especially, at a place like Stillman. It took everything I had to get to where I'm at, and just to be reaping the benefits of the hard work that we put in. It's just surreal at times for me. You've always dreamed of being in a position to do what you do, and you never really dreamed about being mentioned with the same names, as the ones that's been doing it for a long time. You're just happy to be at the table sometimes, but now we're getting to the point to where, if we keep doing what we're doing, we could be sitting at the head of the table, and that's what we want Stillman to be, is at the head of the table. This institution has so much historical background behind it that it needs to be, everybody needs to know about it. It's a wonderful place, and like I tell everybody, it's one of the most hidden gems to go to school at in the state of Alabama, and people need to know that, not just in the state of Alabama but nationally. And one of our goals now is just to keep putting us on the map nationally, so we can be recognized all over, and that will open up doors for recruiting all over this country. We do a good job in the Southeast and all the way up to Tennessee, but now we can actually reach out even further and that's going to help us tremendously down the road.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Drew.
Coach,
yeah.
Travel plans when you guys leaving out to head to Crestview Hills, Kentucky, and obviously this is a business trip, but you also have to take some time to do some other things. So travel plans going into this basketball tournament.
Yeah, well, we're going to leave late at night on Wednesday. We'll practice 3 straight days, make sure we're ready. We'll leave late Wednesday night after practice, hopefully wake up in Kentucky. We'll rest them that day. We have shoot around that evening. We'll feed them. We got shoot around the next morning, and then we'll be ready to play. So it's, like I tell my wife, she's like, "Oh, you're lucky you get to travel to all these places," but we go to different places all the time. But you said it best. It's really a business trip. When we get there, it's really the gym, hotel, film room, practice, shoot around, boom, and then the trip's over. But we're going to try to let the guys see a few things if we get some downtime and just let them enjoy being somewhere different.
Yeah, tell your wife you ride those buses up and down the road a few times, especially at night. They are not comfortable at all. I don't care how good of a charter you have.
yeah, that's right. No, it never gets comfortable. But like I tell the guys, sometimes we have what we call the blue bus here at Stillman. We'll take it. I make sure we take it once or twice a year just to keep us humble and to let us understand that hey, we got it made. And this is, we'll take the blue bus every once in a while, just kind of let them know that, hey, we're not too big not to ride the blue bus still. So just keep your minds right. And so they understand, but they like to travel instead of the blue bus. So we don't get too many complaints if we're on a charter.
I got you. Last one before I turn it over to Bryan. You made the run last year and was able to get to Kansas City. What out of that run from last year and those players from last year it has prepared you for not only for this season but your potential postseason run this season?
Yeah, just I think the familiarity of being in the tournament and playing at a qualifier, like playing for the first round on a different site. That's kind of prepared them. They saw how it was at Faulkner, so they'll be ready for that. It won't be a shock and awe when you walk in. Now they'll be, they kind of understand how it's going to go. And the big tournament, just being able to go to Kansas City, the guys that got to do that, which is pretty much everyone on our team this season, it just being able to be familiar with it, not being overwhelmed. So I think just not being overwhelmed in the moment is really going to help them a little bit prepare a little bit better. And I think that experience doing those kind of things really go a long way, especially individually.
All right, Coach Teasley, we appreciate your time. Again, Stillman, 7th seed, going up against 10th seed Union from Kentucky, and that will be at Crestview Hills, Kentucky. Thomas More is the host school, 7:30 p.m. Friday, March 11th. That's the tip. You can follow naia.org to follow along with live stats. It's pay-per-view to watch. Do we know the distance? How far from Stillman to Crestview Hills, Kentucky? Do we know the distance on that, Drew or Coach?
No, I think it's a 7-hour drive. I don't know exactly mileage.
Okay, yeah, 8-hour drive. That's plenty of room for the folks in Tuscaloosa and the surrounding area to get up there and enjoy the weekend in the beautiful hills of Kentucky, the Bluegrass State. So get up there and go support the Stillman Tigers this weekend. They'll be playing too. I got a good feeling for you, Coach. I got a feeling you're going to be playing too this upcoming weekend. So good luck and safe travels.
Hey, Bryan. Crestview Hills is not that far from Indianapolis, your hometown, and Louisville. So we need and Columbus, Ohio. So we need all of our HBCU alums in those 3 cities to come on out and support Stillman.
Yes, definitely.
Right.
Love to have them.
Well said. So again, Coach Teasley, Stillman College. Good luck to you guys. The Tigers, the 7th seed in the NAIA tournament. And, Coach, we appreciate your time as always, and good luck and safe travels.
Thank you. Good seeing both of you.
Appreciate you, Coach.
All right. So there's Stillman's coach, Coach Teasley, the 7th seed. Again, that quad, Crestview Hills, Kentucky. Now, Drew, something about geography that you just said here, which made no sense to me as I think about my growing up in the Midwest. Indy is 2 hours directly south. Louisville is 2 hours directly south of Indianapolis. I have no idea where Crestview Hills, Kentucky, which direction that is.
It is on. Wait, let me go back to it because I just had it
near
pulled
Lexington,
up.
or is it what?
Crestview Hills, Kentucky is. Wait a minute, I lost it. It is actually looks like it's not that far from Cincinnati. Now that I look at it on the map,
so it's probably somewhere not far. It's somewhere near the
right there near the border. It's right on that Kentucky, Indiana, Ohio border. Is what it looks like, right? Where all three of them come together in that little triangle.
Okay, all right. Well, it's still a nice area, like I said, but it'll be a good weekend to go. So that's Stillman's journey, and I don't know, Drew. Obviously Thomas More from Kentucky.
It says Crestview Hills is located in Greater Cincinnati, close to I-275, Interstate 71, and Interstate 75.
Oh, so it's across the river near Cincinnati, but they probably pick up a lot of the probably pick up a lot of the Cincinnati programming and TV and all that good mumbo jumbo stuff. Yeah, so okay. I was trying to look and see where's Thomas in terms of Thomas More. Obviously, I think still you heard Coach kind of break it down in terms of Union and how long they've been in the tournament. That'll be actually a good matchup. You've got a Union squad that has been in the tournament before. They're a pedigree program as well as Stillman. So this isn't a matchup between two teams that are just making their first appearance in the NAIA tournament. And with Stillman getting the at-large speaks to how good the Southern States Athletic Conference is, because I'm sure Union having won their conference, they're a conference champ. You got to think many people probably up there were thinking that they would get the 1 seed. It should be noted Thomas More is the host school. Thomas More is ranked 5th in the nation and the final coaches top 25, just in front of Talladega. So, Stillman comes out of that contest having to play. They've got Union, and then they come out of that contest, and then they'll have to probably take on Thomas More. But again, I like the fact that Stillman has a veteran experience squad.
And they're battle tested this year when you think about the fact that they split with Talladega, even though they lost to Loyola 3 times, all 3 games were competitive to a top-rated Loyola team.
Right. Let me reset here and just kind of run through again some of the schools and the regions. We mentioned Talladega's the 2 seed. We've got Stillman the 7 seed. In the listen, Stillman is the 7th seed in the Liston quadrant. Did we ever put up that bracket of the men's? Just shout out to our producer Roy, if we can put out that men's bracket so we can give people an idea of what that bracket looks like. Of course, you can go to naia.org, naia.org, and go to men's basketball or women's basketball to see those brackets. And they're in the bottom right corner is that Liston quadrant. You'll see, that's the women's bracket. So my mistake. We'll see if we can get the men's bracket up here in just a second. I will mention over in the Kramer quadrant, We've got 2 men's programs, both in Lakeland, Florida. You've got Tougaloo as a 16 seed taking on Arizona Christian, the 1 seed. Xavier is the 9 seed taking on 8 seed Southeastern University. And those games will be at Lakeland. Southeastern is the host. So an interesting 8-9 matchup between Xavier going up against the host team in Southeastern. And then you've got Tougaloo, who's the 16 seed taking on Arizona Christian, coming way out of left field to play that. So again, as you talked about, no geographic advantage. And then the number 13 seed, Florida. Hold on a second, Drew.
Okay. Go ahead.
The 13 seed is Florida Memorial in the Naismith quadrant. They will take on Faulkner University, Faulkner of the Southern States. And speaking of the 13 seed going into the tournament, the head coach of the Sun Conference champions, Coach Ansar Al-Ameen, Florida Memorial men's basketball. Coach, how you doing? Congratulations on winning the Sun Conference and your trip to the NAIA tournament. How does it how's it feel? Does it still feel good, or have you moved on to what's ahead?
I definitely still feel good, but we've moved on to a very daunting task that we have in trying to knock off Faulkner, a perennial, Sweet 16, Elite 18. But we're excited.
Mm-hmm. You guys had coming in the Sun Conference tournament run. You were the 5 seed. You knocked off the 1 seed Warner, I believe. That was in the semifinals. And then you had probably an epic final, a double overtime classic. For those who didn't see it, what are some of the memories or images that still kind of are in your mind when you think about a double overtime game? Which obviously there's a play here or a play there; it can go any direction. But just what are some images and thoughts, if you would allow our fans to kind of have a little background for those who may not have got a chance to see the game?
I think the biggest thing I think about is, coaches talk about what you should do in certain situations. So it was a situation they were up 3 and we were coming down and they didn't want to give us an opportunity to make a 3, so they fouled us. Sent us to the line, and coaches all around the country, coaches are saying in those situations you should foul. So he did foul us. He sent Corey Benton, our best free throw shooter, to the line. So Corey looks over at me. I'll never forget. He looks over at me. He said, you want me to miss it? I said, yes, miss it towards Brent. And just then they subbed in their biggest player that they had on their team, and he went to Brent's side. And I said, oh, man. But Brent has had magic. He had magic at Thomas University with a putback. So I said, you know what? Let's do it. Let's miss it towards Brent. He missed it. The kid didn't even attempt to box out. He just stepped into the lane. Brent get it, put it back in. And at that point, I knew God was on our side.
Do you coach that? I mean, I'm no good at trying to coach a kid to miss a free throw. Just give me a little background, if you real quick. How do you coach that up?
I mean, Corey Benton, his basketball IQ is so high. Like even today, Corey called me today. He's at the Division II championship watching the game. Like, he's a basketball holic, you know what I mean? Like, this is what he does. Like, he's extremely cerebral and he knows what's going on. So he was probably the only person that I could have said that to. And then the other thing I said was, don't run into the lane, because earlier in the year he shot it and then he ran into the lane. So those were the 2 things that I said to him, and it was magical.
Well said. Go ahead, Drew.
First of all, before I even ask you a question, Dr. Kenyatta Cavill wanted me to tell you hello. He remembers you. I believe you were at Texas Southern at one point in time. So when he found out you were going to be on, he said, we ain't forgot about you over here in Texas, and congratulations, Coach.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Tell him I said the same thing. I would love to get his information so I could just reconnect with him. But no, thank you, and thank him as well.
Yeah, yeah, and we can get that to you off air, Coach. That's
Yes, sir.
we'll get that to you. But you go on to face you facing a Faulkner team. Now you guys faced Faulkner earlier this year. You guys lost to Faulkner when you guys played. I believe that was all the way back in November. Yes, to
Yes,
open up
well,
the season pretty much 75-64. Obviously, both of you all have two entirely different teams now compared to then. But what from that first matchup do you think that you can take that you still see on film that they're doing that you can take into this rematch?
well, I think at that time when we played him, the kid C.J. Hines, he was just a freshman. No one knew that he was this great player that he's turned himself into now. So now, you never really expect a freshman to come out and play as well as he did. But now we know that CJ Hines is a real player. We know that CJ Hines is the engine that makes that team go. So we're definitely going to be focused in on him. We're going to be locked in on him. So I'm extremely excited about this matchup. But the other thing about it is two of my players, played probably the worst games that they had all year. I had Eric Hester go 1 for 10 and Anthony King go 1 for 9. So that's 2 for 19 from two guys that I two key contributors on our team. So I'm like, there's no way possible they're gonna play that bad again. So I'm extremely excited about this matchup. But it's difficult because you're playing a team that's 12-1 at home this year. So they don't lose at home. So in order to pull this off, we're gonna have to find a way to slay the dragon, and I'm extremely excited for the opportunity.
Yeah, Faulkner comes in, the number 15 team in the country, and this is third consecutive time to the tournament and 13th time overall. And they compete in that very competitive Southern States
Mhm.
Athletic Conference. But last week we talked about it. You will put that Sun Conference up against the Southern States Conference. So thinking about to the Sun Conference, what team that you face in the Sun Conference most rivals Faulkner? If it's a combination of two teams, this team offensively and this team defensively or whatever, but which teams in the Sun Conference rival Faulkner?
I would say probably Warner. I would say Warner because Warner's a really guard heavy team and they apply a lot of pressure to you defensively. So I would definitely say Warner. Warner's a team that I actually thought should have been ranked higher, got a higher seed than a 14 seed. But you know, it's funny. I actually talked to Sean today, and I told him, I said, we're going to go in this tournament, and we need to make people understand that the Sun Conference is here, and we're not just showing up and just excited that we got into the tournament. We're really going to make a run to see what we can do.
Go ahead, Bryan.
It's funny you said that because I was looking at, obviously you guys are going up to Montgomery, Alabama, and they sent them all the way out to California. So it's like
Mhm.
it's like where's the love and respect? So yeah, and they're a
Mhm.
14 seed, you're a 13 seed, and like you said, yeah, you guys are gonna have to let people know, the Sun Conference. So I'll be paying close attention. I might just advance both teams on my bracket when I fill my bracket out. I already had you guys going into the next round. I may have to move them over as well. I didn't know they had moved them out to California.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so
Yes, sir.
I know. No, I was gonna say I know Coach Sean over there, so I know they do a good job over there. So
Definitely.
that's gonna be good.
And it's crazy just because you bring up different things, and being a historian of the game, what I mean. And then once I took over at Florida Memorial, just learning more about HBCUs inside of the NAI, and the last HBCU to win a national championship was Texas Southern in 1977. So it's like, it's time that we got Talladega that's going to be fighting. It's time that we earn a little respect, as HBCUs inside of the NAI, and I tell everybody I want to I want to do things that John B. McClendon did. He was able to do it, back in the 50s. And it's like, hey man, let's figure this out. And that's the only thing that I've been telling my team is, we're good enough. As individual players, we're good enough. And two, we're going to put together a scheme that's going to be there. And all we got to do is pay attention to the details and then go out and have fun and just play. Like I tell them, all the stress and all the pressure's off. The pressure's on them because they're supposed to beat us. But when we go down there and we're fighting, we have nothing to lose. And let's play like a team that has nothing to lose. Let's play with a sense of urgency. Let's play with a desire. Let's play with a passion. And no one on my team wants the season to end. We have 8 guys that will not be returning here next year because they're seniors and they're graduating. So these 8 guys, they like, hey man, let's go out and let's play 6 more games. We play 6 more games, win the national championship, and then I'll have an opportunity to do what I came here to do.
And that's also another thing for you folks out there filling out brackets, watching teams with seniors. Circle that. Teams with seniors, you watch out for those kind of teams like what Florida Memorial has, a team that's gone through some adversity, had to overcome some hurdles to win their conference, a senior-laden squad traveling up to Montgomery, Alabama. When are the travel plans? When do you guys leave out? Are you hopefully you guys are flying, or what's the travel plans?
We're driving and we're leaving actually on Wednesday, and I'm actually happy. And I know it probably sounds crazy, but that drive is one that it allows you to get some rest. It's a 10-hour ride, so you're on the bus, you get to sleep, you get to unwind, you get to relax, and we get an opportunity to fellowship with each other some more. And you just talk about all year. Like I enjoy listening to the guys in the back of the bus talking and laughing and joking and just having a good time, fellowshipping with each other. Where you take a flight, it's a little different, but we definitely gonna have to take a flight to Kansas City. But for these 2 games, I'm excited for the opportunity to ride this bus.
I like how you say you definitely gonna have to take a flight to Kansas City. I like how he said that, right?
Yes.
And I love the fact that the perspective that you just gave there is real important. The fact that bus ride brings guys closer together. I mean, we sometimes focus in on maybe the negative of the long trip, but in the long trip, like you said, there's a lot of fellowship, camaraderie that goes on. And with a guy, and this is an experience trip. It's a business trip, but it's an experience, right? And that's what I hear that from you. And so that's awesome that you've got a chance to do that. Any final thoughts that you want to share with us, Coach, or any kind of you talked a little bit about some of the messaging that you talked to your guys about, but anything you want to send out to Florida Memorial fans out there, or any folks that are supportive of the program in the Alabama region, anything you want to shout out to them?
Definitely. I definitely hope anybody in the region, would come on out and support us. We're going to be in their home for a tournament game, so they're going to have all the fans, and it's beautiful because we played them earlier in the year, and it was some guys on the front row, and they were doing a lot of talking back and forth, and I was talking with them, just playing with them, and we were having fun, and I want everybody to know, man, like this team is coming, as you said, it's a business trip, but this team is not coming to lay down. This team is coming to have fun, and they're coming to make a run. And you're going to have to, everybody standing in our way, you're going to have to beat us. It's not a situation where you come in and you say boo and we roll over. That's not the case. If you look at our games all year long, we had a lot of very close games that we may have lost because of this or because of that. But all of those things, we learned from them. Every loss has been a lesson for us, and everything we took the information and we processed it, which got us to where we are today. So I'm extremely excited. I love this group of guys, and it was funny. I'll say this real quick before I go. Probably about a month ago, I was just talking to my team, and one of the guys texted me after practice, and he said, because I usually talk to him in a circle. So he texted me after practice. He said, "Coach, are you all right?" I said, "Yeah." Why you say that? He said, "Because it was kind of emotional. You know what I mean? Like not from a tear standpoint, but from a like I'm letting them guys know that, man, I love you guys. You know what I mean? Like as a coach, you get teams and you're like, man, I can't wait for this to be over. Like I don't like these. I don't like this person. You know what I mean? And this has been the complete opposite. It's like I wish that this didn't have to end. And it's like, this group is so fun. They enjoy each other. We have so much fun together. We have so many laughs. And it's like, I wanted them to know that I appreciated them. And now it's only twofold because, they've helped me achieve something that I wanted to achieve. And I've helped them achieve things that they wanted to achieve as far as personal growth. So, when I look at it, I just said, man, this has been amazing. And to get us off this journey, you're going to have to beat us because no one wants this to end.
Yeah.
Well said.
All right,
well
Coach.
said.
When you're in Montgomery, first of all, make sure you holler at Tito Burgos before you get to Montgomery, because he was there last year in the Black College World Series for about 4 or 5 days, so he can tell you everything that you need to know, every place you need to go in Montgomery. Plus, those are my old stomping grounds. You got to make sure you check out some of the Black history stuff down there because Montgomery is the cradle of Black history and the civil rights movement, and there's plenty of it. You won't be able to do it all on this trip because you got something important to handle, but at least get one thing in. So I'm challenging Montgomery, Birmingham, Tuskegee, Union Springs, and Selma and Columbus, Georgia, to come on over to Montgomery and support our HBCU over there. I'm challenging all those surrounding communities to come out and support HBCU, especially against Faulkner.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Do you know, Coach, if you are it's not listed on the NAIA site. Do you know if you're playing the first or second game on Friday?
We're the second game.
Okay, so that's the 7:30 Eastern, or I guess it's the how do they do that? 6:30 Central.
7 Central. 7 Central.
Okay,
they
7 o'clock.
They said the games were 5 and 7, so it'll be 7 Central.
Okay, so again, to let everybody know, Friday, FMU against Faulkner. That's the 7 p.m. Central. That's 8 p.m. for those of you on the Eastern Miami, Florida time zone. Of course, you guys, that's 8 p.m. NAIA.org is where you can follow along live stats. It's pay-per-view if you want to watch. Go ahead and spend some money to support, and you can watch and follow along as well. And so, Coach, we wish you all the best of luck, safe travels, and enjoy the experience, handle business, and we look forward to sharing the journey with you guys and have fun. Sounds like you guys are going to handle some business, but have fun and enjoy the experience as well.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. We're going to take a break. We're going to take a break, come back, see if we've got any more coaches. We're still looking for Coach Alfred Williams and Coach Charles Billiups of Tougaloo, Alfred Williams, of course, of Xavier. And we'll talk about those two schools in the NAIA when we come back after these words. You're watching the BCSN Sports Wrap.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties through its programs Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and parenting education coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentJAX.
For 200 years, Montgomery, Alabama has been making history by people who had the courage to stand up for change. Today, this riverfront city has been reborn, embracing the past and looking forward to the future. From the National Memorial for Peace and Justice to the stage of the Alabama Shakespeare Festival, this is where history was and
HBCU Sports. Of Dr. DeVille's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
All right, welcome back to the BCSN Sports Wrap. Bryan and AD here, and joining us is the head coach of Tougaloo Bulldogs, the GCAC Conference champions, earning the automatic bid into the NAIA, Coach Charles Billiups. Coach, how you doing, sir?
Oh, I'm fine. I'm doing good, but I don't know who gave y'all that first name. That first name is Thomas Billups instead of
That's
Charles Billups.
I apologize for that, Coach Billups.
That's okay. That's fine.
You know,
I've been called everything.
Well, right now we're gonna call you champion. We're gonna call you champion right now, Coach.
Okay, all right.
We have to get on the interns about that, Coach. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Hey, first
That's
off,
good.
again, congratulations, Coach, on winning the GCAC. Let's talk a little bit about that. Winning that conference championship. You know, when we were there, obviously a few years and covering the GCAC. And, you know, those are knockdown dragouts in those previous years prior to some schools leaving. So with everything going on, you know, schools leaving, and here you had opportunity to win the championship. Talk a little bit about what your team went through this year and just the conference as a whole.
Okay. You know, our conference, you know, like you said, a couple of people dropped out, but hey, I know they're taking us kind of light, but we are tough. We're a tough conference. I mean, our kids play hard. Every night we play, they play hard. Not only my kids, but the other kids in the conference. And you know, we've been working hard. You know, we played a lot of games to get here, and the last two games, my team played probably almost perfect the last two games. So, you know, I want to commend them on that. And but one thing is that we won our conference, but we came in at number 16. And I know some teams that didn't win their conference. They came in number 3, number 6, and number 8. But it's okay. You know, we just got to go play. That's the bottom line.
Do you think that's a product of the conference RPI, maybe more and less to do with your season and your schedule? What do you think might be a product of that? I mean, you had a 21-8 season. That's a good record, great record. But yeah, I mean, we saw the GCAC sort of, I don't know, I don't want to say penalized, but yeah, it does seem like the seeding is a little bit off this year. Do you think that?
Well, we played 2 D1 school and beat them. I mean 2 D2 school and we beat them. And we played Mississippi Valley and we played them down to the wire. But you know, I think they beat us by 3 or 4, but we played them well.
Do you think not having Xavier and Talladega in your conference this year may have hurt some of those games? I know you played some tough non-conference games, but just the fact that they were not conference opponents may have, you know, weakened the strength of schedule in the conference.
Yeah, I kind of looked at that and I said, well, you know, maybe they kind of said that our conference was a little weak, you know, like you said, without Xavier and Talladega, but I think right now we're just playing just as good as Xavier and Talladega right now.
And you played Xavier twice, if I do remember correctly, this season.
No, we played them once. The second
I only
time
played them once.
we played them one time, and that was we had played 4 games in that week. That was the 4th game that we played in that week. And
wow,
I thought my guys was a little tired, but we ain't got no excuses. We just lost to them, but that next time they couldn't come because something happened and they couldn't come.
Gotcha, guys. So you were scheduled to play twice, but you only got one in.
Yeah, we were scheduled to play. We went down there and played them at their home place, and they never did get a chance to come up to my place.
Gotcha.
I noticed your upcoming opponent, Arizona Christian. They didn't do them any favors either. Even though they're the 1 seed in this quadrant. I think they're ranked 4th in the nation, but they're from Arizona and they're coming all the way out to Lakeland, Florida. So they've actually have a longer trip to the site than you guys will. When you look at them on film and what you've seen from them so far, what are some things that you are already making your team aware of, or that you are you have to defend against in order to be successful and be the 16 seed that takes out the 1?
Well, we know they big and we not that big, but hey, we just got to play up tempo ball like we always do. We just gotta, every time we get it, we gotta run the fast break, and we gotta pick them up from the time they throw the ball in. We gotta play full court man. We gotta use all of my press that we go through, and hey, no excuses. We just gotta be ready for them to play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Go ahead, Drew.
I was going to say Arizona Christian comes in with their 4th straight NAIA tournament appearance, their 8th overall. They're 4-6 in their tournament history. So, Coach, of all the teams that you have played thus far this year, Arizona Christian reminds you of whom?
It kind of remind us of a little bit of Xavier. The kind of they play strong. They go inside with it sometime, and their big kids can shoot the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't want you to put the cart before the horse. But when you win this game on Friday, and I'm going to wish it into existence, I'm going to say when you win this, there's a potential GCAC reunion party with Xavier when they take care of business. So you may get that second game against Xavier. So what would that mean to have the 2 HBCUs take over Lakeland, Florida?
Hey, I would love it. Hey, that's what we going down there for, the win. When my team hit the floor, I always go to win, not to keep from losing.
Mm-hmm. Coach, the mess. Well, before I talk about this, the messaging that you're giving your team, talk about some of the standouts for anyone who may not have seen Tougaloo or had a chance to watch. I mean, obviously, we're very familiar with the style of play, but individually, I feel like you're constantly reloading. So when a young man leaves, you got another guy that's coming in that you almost plug into, and he looks like a guy who you just had a year or two ago. So let people know some of the young men on this year's team that have really stood out for you.
Well, we got a kid from Ohio. He's my point guard. His Cam Copeland have been playing real good for us. He's been he made player of the week 3 times, and some of my other players is named Cam Woodall. He's about 6'5", real strong, left-handed kid that can really play. And then we got one of my seniors, the only seniors on my team. He just keep everybody on what we're running and how we running it. He's a real smart guy. He know everything we running, and he put everybody in their spot where they should be. And then we got another little guard named Antoine Bean that been playing real good for us. So we got a kid that's 6'8", that Taco, we call him Taco. His name is I call him Taco so much I almost done forgot his name. But
we get players like that, Coach.
Yeah, and when he first got there, let me tell you a little bit about him. When he first got there, tacos, you can get a hard taco and you get a soft taco. So I told him he's a soft taco when he first got there. So after we played so many games, and I called him to the side, I said, "Hey, Taco, come here." I said, "You finally got hard, man." He just laughed. He thought that was so funny. So he's a good kid. So that's what we depending on, going inside with him. He's about 6'8", that get a lot of rebounds, and he play tough.
You're talking about Daryl Jones, Coach?
Daryl Jones.
All right. Taco. I feel like that's an in program one where I don't if I saw him I don't feel like I'd have enough. I don't feel like I'd be too comfortable saying, "How you doing, Taco?" That'd be like an inside.
Yeah, you're right, cause everybody call him Taco, and as soon as you see him, you gonna pick him out real quick.
Oh my goodness!
Nice, Coach. Over the 8 years that you've been at Tougaloo, and this, and I'm not mistaken, this isn't is this the second NAIA or the third? I don't think this isn't your first trip to the NAIA, is it?
No, this is my third trip to the NAIA, and we won it. Right. We won our conference championship. This make the second time we won it. And we was also co-champ this year.
Right. Okay. Right. So in terms of the preparation and the mentality that you're giving your team, share a little bit of that. As like I said, regardless of what you think your seeding is, we understand the way they seeded you. What's the mindset? What are you telling your guys as you get ready for this contest on Friday night?
Well, my kids, really I don't have to tell them anything, because they know the way I coach and the way I practice. No coach in my conference will work harder than I will. It's the same way it was when I was in high school. No coach in Mississippi will work harder than me. And they know that I always tell them that, hey, we're working too hard not to go down there and win. And if you was in one of my practices, you'll tell everybody, hey, that man is old school. And that's where I am. I'm old school.
We're gonna have to bring the cameras down, and we're gonna have to bring some camps up to Tougaloo so we can send some of these young high school kids and let them get a taste of the way Coach Billiups does it there at Tougaloo. Because as I said, watching your teams play, it's exhausting, especially trying to call a game. I remember trying to call a few games, and you got 10, 12 guys coming in, and I'm just trying to keep up is a challenge. So you make the broadcasters work, Coach. That's all I can say.
Well, that's the way we practice, and that's the way we play. We send 5 in at a time, sometimes 4 or 3. Hey, we never cut down the pace. We always full speed, always.
There you go, Drew. Go ahead and final up with Coach.
Coach, travel plans. You're flying. You're busing. When can we expect you in the Lakeland area?
Oh, okay. We're gonna ride a bus. And that way we've been riding buses all year, and it's I think it's better in riding bus. We can get out and stretch when we want to. We can stop and use the bathroom when we want to, and you know, let the kid look at. They can also get their computer out and look at the team that we playing, look at their films and stuff. So I think it's better with us for us when we travel on the bus.
All right, all right. So we're gonna issue the challenge to all HBCU alum. Look, the best ticket you could buy for NAIA basketball, if you're an HBCU fan, is in Lakeland, Florida. So Tampa, Bradenton, Orlando, Kissimmee, all the way up to Gainesville. We need y'all to come down to Lakeland, Florida, Clearwater, Dunedin, St. Pete. Go ahead over to Lakeland and support not one, not two, not three, but 4 HBCUs playing in Lakeland, Florida. Wear a neutral color because we don't want you to show your allegiance unless you're an alum. Then you show your allegiance, but wear something neutral so they know you're supporting all 4 of them.
Okay, we'll do that. We will.
Yeah.
All right. Again, Coach Thomas Billiups, Tougaloo, GCAC champions. They'll be taking on Arizona Christian. That will be Friday. And I thought I just had it pulled up. I'm trying to see which time frame. Coach, do you know which?
7 o'clock.
Okay, so it's the night game. 7 o'clock Eastern time or 6 o'clock Central time for those of you in the Mississippi area that want to watch. You can go to naia.org and you can follow along with live stats of the games, or you can pay-per-view and you can watch from the furnace on Southeastern University's campus, Lakeland, Florida. Again, 4 games, all featuring HBCUs. 2 men's games, 2 women's games. It should be a great Friday for HBCU basketball in Lakeland, Florida at the men and women's level. So, Coach Billiups, we appreciate you taking time to talk with us tonight. Good luck, safe travels, and we look forward to. I'm gonna go ahead and scratch that upset. The 16 over to 1. I got 2 16s knocking off some 1 seeds. You're one of my 2. So good luck to you, Coach.
Okay, I thank you, and I appreciate y'all having me on. And anytime you want to interview me or talk with me, just give me a call and let me know.
We got you covered.
Yes, sir.
Coach.
Yes, sir. We appreciate you. Again, thank you, Coach Thomas Billiups, for joining us, from Tougaloo College, for joining us this evening. And, of course, Tougaloo, the 16 seed GCAC conference champions. And, again, just want to reset for everybody what Lakeland looks like on the men's side. You got 16 seed Tougaloo taking on Arizona Christian. And I'm serious, Drew. Think about that. Arizona Christian's the 1 seed, traveling all the way to Lakeland. So if you think that, Tougaloo has a 10-hour, 8-hour bus ride, no, Arizona's got to get on a flight and travel east. So
how many times have we seen in the big boy tournament where you get a team out the ACC having to travel to Seattle, Washington for a first-round game?
Well, that's the interesting thing. See, this is where teams are bidding to be, and for whatever reason, I guess Arizona Christian couldn't bid or didn't want to bid, but there's nobody.
And there was no one
in the. There's only one team, and that's California, and that's a 3 seed, William Jessup, who made a bid. But all the other teams are. I mean, you've got one team in Texas. So really 2 sites, Iowa, Nebraska, most of the sites, Drew.
Everybody's east of the Mississippi.
Or east of the Great Plains in the middle of the country, Nebraska, Iowa, they're east of that. So if you're in Arizona or a California school, you're kind of like, man. But anyway, over on the women's side in Lakeland, that's 16 seed Xavier going up against 1 seed Southeastern. And Rust, 9 seed, taking on Cumberland. So 4 games, all in Lakeland at Southeastern University, featuring 4 HBCUs. And so that's how that's set up. Yeah.
And I might be wrong for asking this question, but I've got to ask this, especially with us having Coach Billiups on and giving his resume at Tougaloo, and the fact that two SWAC schools now have men's basketball coach head openings, presumptively. All
Don't
I'm
do
going
that.
to say,
Don't do that. Don't do it.
He needs to be on the short list if there is such a thing, if he's interested.
Don't do it, Drew. Your sense of timing is horrible. Yes, yeah. Beautifully said, Drew. All right. Well, we're about to put a pin on it. Now, what do we have upcoming for the rest of the week? Let's go through the men. Let's just go through all of them from the beginning to the end, from all of the divisions. So we'll start from the top. Our top 5. Okay, Division I men's. Now, this is not the final regular season Division I men's because, excuse me, because we know this week you have SWAC and MEAC tournaments taking place. But right now, heading into the final week, Norfolk State sits in front. Texas Southern is number 2. Alcorn, let me rephrase. Norfolk State, the MEAC regular season champions. Texas Southern, the 2 seed in the SWAC tournament. Alcorn, excuse me, Alcorn is
those numbers are inverse, but Alcorn is number 3. But it says 4.
What number?
You see, it says 1, 2, 4, 3.
Yeah. Intern forgot to put the numbers in order. The 3 seed, number 3 team is Alcorn State. They are the SWAC regular season outright champs. Number 4 is Southern, despite what you see there for 3. They are actually 4. Southern University is 4. They are the 3 seed in the SWAC tournament. And Howard University comes in number 5. You're going to quiz me. I don't know where Howard's seed is in the MEAC tournament.
I believe they're the number 2.
Okay. Also in the hunt, North Carolina Central and Florida A&M.
Yes, they are the number 2.
Okay, so what you have is 2 conference champions, the 2 seeds for the MEAC and the SWAC, and then you have a 3 seed.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see. We're going to be talking. We're going to be talking about not only this SWAC basketball tournament. I was in a mood, Drew, and I got so many juicy nuggets to talk about for the SWAC. So coming up, I think on tomorrow afternoon, you, me, Charles Bishop, Dr. Kenyatta Cavill, we're going to spend an hour breaking down the SWAC basketball tournament, some all SWAC suggestions. Now, I don't know when the all SWAC is officially going to come out. I don't know when the Conference Player of the Year is going to come out. So some of the information may be late, but we're going to give it to you anyway. We got men and women's, or I'm going to call the Jackson State Invitational will be on the other side. So let's talk about that Division I women's top 5, which there you see Jackson State, perfect 18-0. They have won 31 consecutive regular season SWAC games, 34 consecutive SWAC games. That includes the tournament.
UConnish
run. 3 consecutive regular season championships. So Jackson State, that's them. And the Jackson State Invitational will take place in Bartow. Now, I will say this, Drew, here, before I read the rest of the top 5. If there was ever a time that the SWAC should have gone to a double bye opportunity for Jackson State, it should have been this year. Because can you imagine if, and I will explain to you, I don't think Jackson State has an easy road to the championship game. They don't have an easy road. because the few teams that have been competitive with them, they will potentially see. So I feel like back in February, the SWAC should have brought out the old double. They should have done what you see happening in the OVC, the West Coast Conference, where you got a double bye for your 1 and 2 seed. That way you increase the odds of them making the championship game. But anyway, we'll talk a little bit more about that tomorrow. Number 2 is Howard. Now what's interesting is Howard did not win the MEAC. We are actually missing the MEAC champs in this top 5.
No, I'm looking at it now. Howard was the top seed based on the tiebreaker.
Oh, so they had co-champs.
They had co-champs. It's the MEAC, Brian. What do you expect?
Thank you, MEAC.
Okay.
Thank you. So Howard
and let me read. I will read it verbatim, word for word.
Read the top 5. Read the seeding. Hold on, let me get the top 5 here, and then you can go through the seeding for the MEAC tournament. So you got Howard at 2, Morgan State at 3, Coppin State at 4, Alabama A&M, which is now the 2 seed in the SWAC. They've won 7 games in a row. They actually come in at number 5. And Norfolk State, who was one of the co-regular season champs, is in the hunt. So what does that MEAC tournament look like?
Okay, the MEAC, this is from the MEAC, BCSports.com. The Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference has released its women's pairings for the 2022 MEAC tournament, March 9 through 12 at the Scope Arena in Norfolk, Virginia. 3 MEAC schools can claim the regular season championship, but the Bison of Howard will be the top seed. Doesn't that sound like a MEAC statement, Brian? Anyway, getting back to the quote, Howard, Norfolk, and Morgan each with 11 and 3 en route to being the MEAC co-champions of the regular season, and all 3 programs split the meetings with each other. The Bison emerged via tiebreaker thanks to a season sweep of Coppin State, giving them a top seed for the second straight season. Norfolk State and Morgan State were 1-1 head-to-head and had identical records against every other MEAC program. The Spartans won that tiebreaker via scoring margin against common opponents to take the number 2 seed. Morgan State will be the number 3. Coppin State will be the number 4. Maryland Shore 5. South Carolina 6. South Carolina State 6. North Carolina Central 7, and Delaware State rounding out the number 8 seed. And then the rest of the article goes into the times and the pairings. So
there is your classic definition of MEAC-ish. When all things are equal and you get down to the 7th tiebreaker. Holy cow.
Well, I coined the phrase. We need to start a Wikipedia page about MEAC-ish stuff.
Oh my gosh, we would have so much fun. I don't know if the conference would like it, but I would have there have been so many years across the various sports where you had multiple you've had 7 not 7, but you've had 3 to 4 champions.
What was the 5 in football 1 year?
Yes, 5 in football 1 year.
Yeah. And shout out to you and Dr. Cavill. Y'all have even started using my phrase as y'all did on Thursday's show.
Look, because you coined it. It's so beautifully said, and it just really is that no other conference has had what FAMU has.
Yes.
All right, let's go over to Division II, men and women.
No Division II today. Division II will not come out until tomorrow after the tournament pairings are announced on the men's and the women's side. You can catch the men's bracket being released at ncaa.com tonight at 10 o'clock Eastern. And then the excuse me, I got that backwards though. Women are at 10 o'clock Eastern, and the men are at 10:30 Eastern time tonight on NCAA.com. So the
They must have a
Division
lot of
Two
teams
men's
from
and
the
women,
West Coast in that. I
yeah,
don't
the
understand why they're
Division Two
doing that
will
at
be
10
coming out.
o'clock.
Yeah, it's got
It's
to be.
ridiculous.
So because
Ridiculous.
of that, we're
Can we
going to
put the
hold the
graphic?
Division Two until Monday, and we still have to do the NAIA men, Mr. Producer.
Yeah, let's put that. Okay, so the NAIA men, here's the final regular season rankings. Talladega comes in at 1. Paul Quinn finished their season 23-2, 12-2 in the Red River, of course, ineligible for postseason play. But with the young squad, it'll be very interesting to see what the future is like. Xavier advanced, of course, at large bid, 22-5 regular season. Stillman comes in at number 4, 19-8 in the Southern States. They're in the tournament. And GCAC champs Tougaloo, 21-8, comes in at number 5. Sun Conference champs Florida Memorial come in the hunt right there. So, well, I won't ask the question because I don't know if one loss would be enough for Talladega to lose their spot, Drew.
Talladega would have to lose in the first round, and one of these teams, 3 through 5, would have to get on a run deep into Kansas City in order to catch Talladega.
Probably get to the more than around the 16, probably to the quarterfinals. I'm guessing, right?
Yeah, to the quarter, if not the semis. And Florida Memorial is in the hunt because they are alive. Because they're in the tournament, they're the only team outside of the top 5 who is still playing. So you have to include them in the hunt, and they are not that far. They're not so far behind where they cannot jump into that top 5. Although it would be a daunting task for them to get to number 1 from their spot, it is mathematically possible.
All right. Well, appreciate that, producer Roy. We already went through the women earlier, so we don't have to show that again. Final thoughts, Drew. Again, tomorrow, our SWAC tournament show. We got a Division II show, possibly a MEAC tournament show. Still working to see if we can put it together, but definitely the show that I mentioned with Charles Bishop, Dr. Kenyatta Cavill, you and I, that will definitely in the work. That's SWAC men and women's tournament.
What time is
preview.
that for our fans?
4:30 or 5 o'clock. Sound like 4:30 is what we were planning.
4:30 Eastern
4:30. 4:30 Eastern. So we'll put it out. Obviously, you can go back and watch and listen, but we're planning to go live 4:30.
D2 show?
Good question. D2 show. I don't know. We'll talk about that. We'll have to post that out. It'd be in the evening, so I would imagine maybe 7
o'clock Eastern.
I don't know. Yeah, something like that. We're still working on that one. That one's more fluid than the other one, so we'll see.
Right.
So, the conference tournaments for the MEAC and SWAC begin middle of the week. NAIA start up on Friday night, and so we've got plenty of stuff. Always stuff to talk about during the middle of the week, between the baseball and the softball and all the other good stuff happening. Want to remind you to follow along with us, but follow along with your local HBCU. You can find all of their Twitter feeds and Instagram feeds on our website, mybcsn.net. Of course, please follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at mybcsn1. Download that Jericho Broadcast Networks app if you would on your Google or Apple Play Store. Just search MyJBN or MyBCSN. That's where you can find us. And if you're not a subscriber to the BCSN Pod Zone, what are you doing? Go, you listen to podcasts. Go download and go be a part of the BCSN Pod Zone. You can even support. You can even drop a bucket, drop a quarter, drop a dime, drop $1. You can be a supporter of the podcast, whether you listen to it on Spotify or Anchor. There are links that you can go to be a supporter, and we appreciate every penny that you donate. That's going to do it. Drew, did I miss your final thoughts? Anything you want to add before we close up shop?
Just during this time of the year, if you're anywhere near where one of these tournaments are being played, even if it's not your HBCU, just go out and support. If you're an HBCU alum or HBCU supporter, go out to the game. If you can't make it to the game, watch it online, whatever the streaming platform is, so that we can get our numbers up. That's the only way that we get more money to our HBCUs. We've got to get our numbers up, either in person or the various streaming platforms. So yeah, that's gonna do it. That's gonna do it for me. And last thing, shout out to Talladega and the NAIA for not doing what the Alabama High School Athletic Association did with Oakwood Aventus by moving that game to respect the religious preferences of the team that's playing in Talladega.
Yeah, congratulations. Talladega got it right. Alabama High School Athletic Association, you got it wrong. Shame on you. I want to thank our coaches who joined us again. Coach Thomas Billiups of Tougaloo. Apologies on the name thing earlier. We appreciate him. Coach Ansar Al-Ameen of Florida Memorial. Coach John Teasley of Stillman. And Coach Eric Jackson of Rust for joining us. We appreciate those coaches. Sorry that we couldn't get the other coaches. Must have been some things going on, but we've talked to them before, and we know that we'll get a chance to talk to them again. We wish all of our teams, our schools, our HBCUs the best of luck. Safe travels when you see them on the road. Blow your horn. Let them know you support them. Let all these coaches know you thank them for taking time to come on the show and talk with us and share a little about their story as they get ready for the NAIA basketball tournament. So that's going to do it for producer Roy and my partner, AD Drew. I'm Bryan Fulford. We'll see you tomorrow night as we get ready to talk about Division II and the SWAC basketball tournament right here on the Black College Sports Network. We are out of here. Be safe, everybody.
Well, holla.
But you stay on hard.